Okay, what up, friendos? Welcome back. We're talking about NFTs today. NFTs, video gaming, specifically Ember Sword. There's been a lot of misinformation and just incorrect reporting here about the Ember Sword thing. And what you should know is Ember Sword is, well, it was, as we're going to get to, a crypto NFT MMO. You know, this was never realistic. That's why I'm air quotes in. This was never going to be a game. The game, in fact, as is usually the case, was being run on the idiots who thought that digital ownership, you know, buying land for thousands of dollars in a non-existing game was somehow going to then translate later on into investment returns or the greatest game ever. You know, typically giving money for things before they exist in a game you don't even know is going to be good, especially in video game development where the best and most tenured teams in the industry can create absolute fucking stinkers. Companies like BioWare with decades of tenure, history releasing good games under publishers like EA, you know, EA is what EA is, but we all know they have the money, the resources, the experience to release good games. Even they can spend millions, tens of millions of dollars, just essentially shitting themselves to death in public with releases like the new Dragon Age game. This just can happen. So Unknown Studio appears. We're going to make the best thing ever. It's going to include this technology that is yet to have actually been proven to be A, useful, B, wanted, C, viable technically going into these games. They show up, they say they're going to do this. Stupid people with more money than sense say, oh, Bitcoin went crazy and went up in value. What if I bought Bitcoin, you know, 10 years ago? I'd be rich. Then they convince themselves somehow that they're savvy or whatever and they're going to buy these things. And then obviously the thing doesn't do anything because the chances the game ever works out are incredibly small. And then even if the game was really good, the chances that people would want to play the game at the end or that money would keep flowing in to the end essentially means that the success rate, if you know anything about investing, technology, games, is close to zero. And this is what they found out. So in August of 2021, Bright Star Studios launched the Ember Sword pledge system. Now, what you'll have seen recently is a bunch of people making videos or writing articles saying that the company received $203 million. This didn't happen. You can find it with a pretty quick Google search. Unfortunately, the word pledges does a lot of heavy lifting here. Basically, what happened was they said, we're going to sell NFTs to people, and these NFTs are going to be land in this video game that doesn't exist. And people said, oh yeah, I'll give you X dollars for a piece of this land in the future. I don't know why the fuck they did this. I'm guessing to try and hoodwink investors into being like, oh, you know, look at how many people want to give us money. Why don't you give us money and you can own nothing just like they would, but you'll probably own equity in our company, which will inevitably turn out to be worth nothing also. But essentially, 34,791 people in their community said, we will pledge X amount of dollars for land, and it equaled, once you added all those pledges together, $203.7 million. But obviously, there wasn't $203 million raised, there wasn't $200 million worth of land sold, and while it's, you know, incorrect reporting to say they raised $200 million, as a spin on this, 200 mil, if they did raise it, would have raised a bunch of questions like, where the fuck did this money go? But at the same time, it raises more questions when the money wasn't raised, such as if 35,000 people said, we'll give you this amount of money, and then when it came time to pony up that money, they said, nah, actually, and only $11 million was raised. That kind of goes to show that one, investors would have had a real rough time with this, just like the public. Two, the demand for this was simply not there by the time they were ready to you know, shake people upside by their ankles and get the gold coins to fall out. And three, they all got fucked. Everybody in this got fucked other than the company. Now, they didn't raise $200 million, so they never had $200 million to spend trying to develop the game, What they did raise, though, was still, as far as I can find, over $15 million. Some private investment, some from the 11 million, obviously, that they raised from this land sale. But obviously, if you don't know what Ember Sword is, will be forgiven, because this is what it is. Now, this is just some random person that I searched up on YouTube and found. But this, while it doesn't look like the worst game ever, this looks like a prototype for a Kickstarter where it's one guy shitting in a bucket in his parents' basement saying, oh, I just need $5,000 to make this full-scale MMORPG using asset packs. And look at what I've already done. I've already done so much. Look at all the asset packs I've strung together. And surely that means, because I did that and put it into a trailer, I'm then going to be able to make the best game ever. And we all know, if you followed my coverage of Kickstarter games or MMOs for years, we all know that this is complete bollocks. And just having an online world where people can log in and you've slapped some assets together doesn't mean you're going to then be able to make a full-scale MMO that people would want to play. Maybe you can build a world. Maybe you can, like I said, slap some stuff together. Maybe people can log in. But that's not a game. That's not a game people are going to play. But this is what Ember Sword turned out to be up until 4 months ago. This is recent gameplay of something that, as far as I can tell, raised over $15 million. I think it's actually over 20. So you might ask the question, what went wrong with such a beautiful, amazing game, right? All the crypto bros were saying this was the future. You know, you're wrong, Kira. This is definitely going to work out. What do you know about gaming? What do you know about cryptocurrency? We are the Web3 mafia, and we're just going to pump money into things until it makes sense. And of course, we're sticking around for the future. But obviously, 7.8 million raised in 2021 and 2022, 11 million through the NFT land sale. Is this enough money to make a full-scale MMO? I don't know. Probably not. Is it enough money if you don't fuck around and waste money enough to keep your studio going for more than 4 years? Yeah, probably. It probably is. But of course, with Ember Sword, they must have just blown money out of their ass doing what? Who knows? According to some articles I could find, there was a very troubled development. Who'd have known crypto bros not the best game developers? Where they spent a long time trying to figure out what engine they were going to use and just repeatedly trying engines out and things, which is a good thing to do with money that people gave you for a finished game, right? That's a really good way to spend people's hard-earned cash. Then again, somebody who was going to give you money for land in a video game that doesn't exist, knowing nothing about video games or clearly investing or what an investment is, they were probably going to lose that money on some shit coins or some fucking monkey JPEGs anyway. So really hard to hold that against them, to be fair. That being said, of course, as they were running out of money, as they were trying to desperately, claw and grasp anything they could, they raised absolutely fucking nothing from launching a crypto token called Ember for the Ember Sword game. And this, as far as I can tell, reached like $100,000 market cap or something. Like, this is awful. This is really bad. But of course, even from being down that badly, it's now down 99%. So anybody who put money into this, also down 99%. 99.2 actually, so congrats on that one. So as you can see here, they officially launched early access in December of 2024. It didn't go well because, if it did, maybe some of those people who pledged some of that $200 million would have said, yeah, we'll actually give you some of it. But obviously, as they found out, as all these companies will eventually find out, just because somebody said at one point when you're not taking money off them, oh, I'll definitely give you money for this thing when this thing becomes available. If you've not shown that you are going to actually produce something that's going to be worth that money, even the crypto bros are going to pull out. Even the crypto bros are not going to give you the money, which is crazy because they'll buy almost fucking anything at this stage. And of course, they eventually went and posted on their website, the Ember Sword website, which doesn't fucking load. They must be seeing tons of traffic for all those players that they certainly had. I'll just read it off of a Google image because their website just doesn't fucking load. So they say this is one of the hardest announcements we've ever had to make. By the way, they've taken like $20 million or something from people, from investors, from people like Dr. Disrespect, lol, deserved, but from the public, of course, as well. And they're saying this is one of the hardest announcements they've ever had to make. What? You've taken everyone's money. None of it's left. You're not refunding anyone. The game's gone. Everyone's been fucked. You're saying it's one of the hardest. What other things have you announced? That's a crazy thing to say. So back in December, we shared how we were fighting to keep Ember Sword moving forward despite the challenges. Many of you have been patiently waiting for an update, and while this isn't the news we hope to deliver, it's important we share now. Well, yeah, you're out of money. Like, you pull the plug. And by the way, I have it on good authority that a large percent of the people working at this studio were laid off months before the playtest ever happened, months before the actual game was in the early access period. So the money was gone long ago. Where did it go? I don't know. How can you spend 20 million in 4 years making an indie game that looks like something a couple of people shitting in a bucket in a basement could make using purely asset packs? I don't know. I don't know where this money's gone. It's weird. There was, as far as I'm aware, no equity, no shares, nothing given over to people involved in the game. There's a whole bunch of testimony you can go and read online where people who worked at this company are saying we didn't earn anything other than our salaries, which weren't crazy salaries, which you can sometimes see in cryptocurrency games. So where this money went, I simply do not know. It would be interesting to see some kind of accounting for this, but of course we're never going to. And since cryptocurrency is apparently no longer being looked into for fraud and things in the United States, not that I'm saying that there was fraud here, I just simply don't think we're going to ever get any clarity on where the money really went, unless somebody, as an insider that has access to these records, reaches out to somebody, which I don't think we'll see. So our passion for MMOs runs deep. That's why we tried to fucking make an absolute abomination, make some kind of fucking homunculus. We've spent our lives playing, building, and dreaming about worlds where strangers become friends, where effort and skill are rewarded, and where stories come alive through shared experiences, and where you can spend thousands of dollars to get an advantage and a leg up before the game's even made. And then if the game fails, you lose all your money, and if it doesn't, you fucking clown on the paws, and you rent them out parts of your land so they can experience renting in real life, but in a video game, being the peon in real life, and also being the peon in the video game. We also believe still deeply that blockchain technology has the potential to reshape these worlds for the better. Lol, prove it. To give players real ownership, agency, and value for their time. Yeah, of course. Paying thousands of dollars for something in a video game is real valuable. You're valuing your time there. When we started, it was about proving that great game design on the blockchain could work. You fucking failed then, didn't you? You failed big time. Because you proved nothing. You proved, in fact, the one thing you did prove is everyone right. Not you. You didn't prove fuck all about what you can do. But it could work and could feel fun and fair and rewarding. Thanks to the incredible team here and your support, we got further than many would have thought we could. No, you didn't. You got exactly where everyone thought you could, which is to take money from idiots and then do fucking nothing. And thanks to the incredible team that we laid off and wasted money to the point where you no longer have a job. Congrats. Thanks, guys. We're going to show our gratitude to you by firing you. Here you go. Gratitude. Despite strong early support, promising early access player stats, no. And a passionate community, is it a community? It's just a bunch of fucking people rubbing their hands together like rats, right? That's what the community is here. There will, of course, be some people that are an exception to this rule. But by and large, somebody who's buying land in a crypto game before the game exists are people who are looking to simply make a dollar. They don't care about you. This has been proven time and time again. They are rats. They will scurry away as soon as they see the exterminator. They'll run away and hide in their holes. And the minute that they can, they will eat the young. Like, they will literally they will dump on their mothers if they could, as long as they could get out with, a percentage profit. They all admit it eventually. Like, if they make the money, they'll, lol, I don't care. Like, I made the money. Lol, like, this is what they do. So I'm sure there were some people in the community that were passionate, but most of them were passionate about money, not the video game. Facts. We were ultimately unable to secure the funding needed to continue. Shocker. We explored every possible way forward, apart from making a good game. But in today's market, where even some of the most promising projects are shutting down, we couldn't find a path to keep building. You know why this is? Because none of these promising products projects in the cryptocurrency market have done anything. Not a single. It's been 5 years, guys. It's been 5 years. There's been more money raised for these things in the last 5 years than any normal game other than Star Citizen, you know, we always have to throw that caveat in there. As in overall industry, money stopped coming in anyway. VCs are not putting money into normal games. People are not putting money, by and large, into crypto games. VCs are definitely not putting money into crypto games. But you've had 5 years where some of these projects have raised hundreds of millions of dollars. And you know where we are? Not a singular one is even remotely successful. Not in crypto terms, and certainly not in normal video game terms. None of these things substantially exist in any way that would convince anybody to play them over what is available from a normal video game publisher. Like, you failed wholeheartedly. Like, all the best will in the world give you the opportunity to, give you enough rope to hang yourself with, give you enough gold coins to fucking swim in like Scrooge McDuck. You've all failed to provide any value to the space or prove that anything you could do is valuable to anybody other than yourself. You all paid yourself salaries, probably really good salaries for years at the higher end of these companies, making nothing for nobody apart from yourselves. That's a fact. So, yeah, some of the most promising projects are shutting down in real gaming, but in cryptocurrency, none of them were promising, ever. Full stop. Find me one. Link it to me. Crypto Bros. Send me an email. Oh, this one's the future Kira. Corn fam. Fucking whoever. These people that have been saying for years, oh, you're wrong. This is the one. Prove it. Show me one. Show me successful metrics of any other than taking candy from a baby. You are the baby in this analogy. We couldn't find a path to keep building. Our journeys in the servers will go offline. As part of this, Discord channels will also be closed to avoid confusion or scams. Let me clarify here. They're not closing any of this to avoid confusion or scams. There's no confusion. They're closing this so people can't speak to each other and use whatever was said within a Discord server for years of history in case any kind of like civil litigation or anything goes on, or any kind of law enforcement were to come sniffing around. If that was the case, this is a liability issue, not a, oh, we're doing this for you guys, because they've also closed other social media, stopped posting on social media and things like that. If you were truly for the community, you'd leave the community up so people could speak to each other, friends that they found or whatever, but you didn't. You've closed it, and it's not for the reasons you say. At least I don't believe so. This isn't the ending any of us wanted. Maybe none of you, but you know. We want to sincerely thank you for being here, for believing in this vision, and for helping make Ember Sword something we'll never forget. Yeah, all the people involved will never forget either, because they're the ones that could have spent that money on something else, but instead you took the money, you've spent it on whatever you've spent it on, paying your salary, and you've provided them with fucking nothing. So that's Ember Sword. You know, they didn't raise $200 million, but they did raise enough. You know, they raised more than most indie projects will ever. They raised more than enough to deliver a viable product, for at least a minimum viable product that would show some kind of promise. But they couldn't, because it was never about that. It was about the cryptocurrency. It was about selling people things. And sincerely, if you look at what they did, asset packs, a small online world, I have to question where the money went. Like, how much did you waste? How much were some of the people being paid? Because if that's what, 4 years of development and tens of millions of dollars creates, you're either the most incompetent motherfuckers ever or something else. I don't think we'll ever find out, but that something else is doing a bit of heavy lifting for, some words we could otherwise use. So that's Ember Sword, I guess. Thanks for watching. If you want to see content, maybe this will be an interesting deep dive later if, I get some additional information from insiders or whatever. Maybe there'll be a video about this that could be a little bit more well-written and look at some things in a little bit more depth or nuance. I don't think there's too much nuance here, to be fair. But whatever you want to see me cover, let me know. Leave a comment, send me an email, Twitter, Discord, Twitch, Kick, all those things. Might be live later. Come check it out. Check out Gamer Sups. Fantastic. Look at these amazing pajamas that I'm wearing. I did spill coffee all over myself. I've got a stain on my wife beater. Really comfortable merch that they sell. Great drinks that they sell. All the bullshit's cut out. It's just vitamins, caffeine, or you can even get uncaffeinated if you just want to drink some flavored water with vitamins in. Use my code. You get a 10% discount, I believe. I think it's 10. And check it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Stay safe. Peace.